I had a stat of the day for you. Seton, you want to hit the music here?
Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of the day!
NHL players with at least 1,200 points and 1,200 penalty minutes all time. Gordie Howe, Stan Mikita, Bobby Clark, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, Dino Ciccarelli, Denny Savard, Al McGinnis, Bernie Nichols, Brendan Shanahan, Doug Gilmour, and Jeremy Roenick.
Start of the day! Start of the day!
Sick.
Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of
Why
the
can't I lace him up tonight, man? I'm all pumped up now. That's sick stat.
Look at that. Look at the list you're on there.
Not bad, huh?
Scoring and penalty minutes?
You know, if you read my tweet board, there's a lot of fans out there who say that, I suck, which
Well, wait, as a player?
both as a player and as a person, they might have a little validity to. But as a
Okay.
player, I don't know if they can really argue with that.
Where do you think you stand all time, NHL players?
Well, somebody asked me at one point, how many players played the way you did? Played extremely physical, hit as hard as you possibly could every shift, played as hard out, scored 50 goals, scored 500 goals, over 1,200 points, penalty minutes. Like, how many players can you say in National Hockey League ever that played your style, the way that you did, at the level and intensity that you did? And I thought about it. To tell you the truth, Dan, not saying anything about myself, I couldn't name more than 4 or 5, to tell you the truth.
Okay, Messier.
I think Brendan Shanahan it was up there the way he played.
Gordie Howe.
But I hit a lot harder than Shanny, more than Shanny did. Not harder, but I hit a lot more. Gordie Howe. Those type of players. I think Ovechkin plays a lot like I did. I fought more than Ovechkin did, but took a lot more penalties than Ovechkin did, and hopefully maybe played a little bit better defensively at one time than Ovechkin did, or does.
Ovechkin looks like a Bond character. Like he could be in a Bond
No
movie
question.
as a bad guy.
Isn't it weird?
But he has the tooth out?
Yeah, it's a kind of a strange look. Looks like he definitely looks like a hockey player. Everything's just not there. But boy, when this guy gets on the ice, he is as electrifying and fun to watch as anybody in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I shared a flight with Wayne Gretzky a month or so ago, and he said the one guy that he knew when the guy got the puck who was going to score, that if he was on the bench, he knew there was going to be a face-off, was Mike Bossy. He said that the precision of Mike Bossy, he's that last guy that he wanted to have the puck was Bossy. He said he was that great, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, and you know who's like that for me was Joe Sakic. And when I played against Joe Sakic, this guy was so smart, and he was laser beam tight with his shots. I mean, he would put it in a hole that was exactly as big as the puck. And nobody that I've ever seen had a more accurate shot than Joe Sakic.
Well, talking to Jeremy Roenick in studio here. All right, how many teams have a legitimate shot to win the Cup?
It's a good question. I think there's 16 teams left in the playoffs right now. I'd say 14, maybe 13, to tell you the truth. God's honest truth.
Who doesn't have a chance?
I hate to say it because they're playing one of the best teams in the world is the Islanders. I think the Islanders let something slip the other day. I think they got hosed a little bit on the call. I don't like penalty calls in overtime, but they came back from 4-2. They had a chance to win in overtime to tie up the series, or at least to go up in the series, go up 2-1 in the series, which is a huge advantage. They let that slip away. You can't do that against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think demoralizes their team and the Minnesota Wild. I know they played hard. They got it to 2-1 also, but they're playing against also a team that's very difficult to beat in Chicago.
But do we hold stars accountable for winning championships? Because in football, if you're a quarterback, we want to know if you won a championship. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton never won championships. Do we do that in the NHL?
Without question. I hear about it every single day. How many cups do you have, JR? None. Okay, thanks. It's the same thing. It's you're based in your career, and I think where you stand in your career by how many cups that you win. And that's why Sidney Crosby will go down as one of the greatest players ever in all time. Wayne Gretzky with the amount of cups he won. You look back at some of the, Rocket Richard. He wasn't the best player ever, but you remember his name because of the amount of cups that they won in Montreal. So no question, championships, they make your career. I think they build and create your legacy.
Who should make the finals?
Like I said, if you're going to go by stats and by season and by what they have on paper, it should be a Chicago-Pittsburgh final. And if it is, it'll be a sick final. I mean, that's what a lot of stations are around the country are waiting for and hoping for because of the two markets and the two best teams. But you look at the Anaheim Ducks; they're playing really well. Detroit tied it up last night. However, they are really looking good, and the Washington Capitals look unbelievably good.
The Ducks were my pick at the beginning of the year.
This is a great pick. A lot of people wouldn't have thought the Ducks, and I think Bruce Boudreau has done a great job out there, and Ryan Getzlaf is back to his superstar form again. That's a big, strong team. You don't want to mess with them. They are mean too. And
you get this. Why is it a goalie all of a sudden becomes impenetrable when you get to the Stanley Cup?
Like
playoff?
a Jonathan Quick?
Yes.
I mean, because I think around the National Hockey League, it is a mentality. You can't win a Stanley Cup without having a goaltender hit a hot streak. You can't win a Stanley Cup without a goaltender being your best player. And Jonathan Quick just absolutely steamrolled the playoffs last year and backstopped his team in order to win the Stanley Cup. The LA Kings don't win the Stanley Cup without Jonathan Quick last year. I know they have a good team, but everything revolves around your goaltender. And if he's off just a little bit, you're not going to win in the playoffs.
But why are goaltenders odd?
Well, if you got hit with 120 mile an hour, slap shots and pucks, I mean, ask McLovin over there. It doesn't feel good, man, does it?
It's the worst.
Yeah, and he got a foam puck.
That was a Nerf puck.
Did you see it? He had sweat coming down. His palms were all sweaty like he was going to get hit with a Nerf ball. Imagine standing in front of a 100 mile an hour slap shot. I mean, they have to do it time after time after time. They're a little bit odd.
But is there any other sport where you can say that's similar to a goaltender?
No, I don't think so.
Like a catcher in baseball?
Yeah, but maybe because it's you got the fastball coming, you got the tips coming. There's a lot of crazy things. One sport that I would never do, and I know nothing about it, is cricket. Those guys throw those hard balls as hard as everything. I wouldn't want to stand in front of one of those things coming at me 100 miles an hour. But besides that, no.
But how much trash talking do you have around the goal mouth there? With
lots. There's a lot of trash.
But
talking.
give me a conversation. Who did you have it with? And make sure you PG it here.
Yeah. Well, it's impossible to PG whatever's being said on the ice because there's it's all expletives. There's no question. You might have one normal word in a.
But are you saying this to the goaltender?
There's goaltenders. There's defensemen, and the defenseman's coming after you, and there are F-bombs being thrown left, right, and center. I've had my spats with goaltenders. I'm like, take that, shove that, and all that
after
stuff.
you
Yeah,
score.
you think you're good. How's that? How does that taste? How'd that taste? And then you're standing in front of the net, getting ready for a tip, and all of a sudden the goalie gives you the little, toe of his stick right
up in the crotch,
right in the smoothie. It's not fun. Not fun.
How do you retaliate aside from scoring?
You can't. You can't.
Did you ever fight a goaltender?
Oh yeah, I've punched a lot of goaltenders in the head, and they've punched me back, and there's really. You're fighting a no-win situation. One, he's got the most equipment. Number two, you're always going to get the penalty against a goaltender because they're the most highly regarded and looked after position in
Was
hockey.
there a goaltender though that was actually a good fighter? Like it would scare you a little bit.
There's a couple of them. Patrick Roy was a good fighter. Chris Osgood actually had a great fight with Patrick Roy in 1996 during the Stanley Cup, semifinals. Phenomenal fight. Garth Snow was a good fighter. He wanted to fight as much as he possibly can. He was a big bad bruiser and wanted to go at it at all times. But there's some guys, I think, goaltenders that would wish they were forwards so they can throw down a little bit more.
Good having you in studio. If maybe during the break you could maybe send that Nerf puck towards McLovin.
Absolutely.
Now, what if McLovin turned around and wore a protective cup? One shot. Could you do a cup check on McLovin?
Sure, absolutely, no question.
You would ring the bell.
I would ring the bell.
This is a theoretical question, right, Dan?
No. Are you willing to go with a protective cup?
Do I have a choice?
You do, because if you don't do it, then I'll ask somebody else. But you always like your airtime.
It's a little harder, McLovin. A little harder.
Yeah.
What?
It's a little harder.
All right, I'll do it.
You're the best.
All right. So during the break, JR will do a cup check on McLovin. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you, stopping.
You too, Dan. Thanks.
All right, tell the boys we said hello.